Hi guys, just thought I'd do a quick edit video of a shot I took of Glastonbury Tor with the long lens across the levels. It's not a special shot at all, it's just some cattle in the fields, a bit of light hitting the tor. It was midday, so light wasn't fantastic, and it was a little bit hazy as well, so but we'll have a go and see what we can do. So first off, I'm going to add a bit of contrast. In fact, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to do it with a mask and a linear gradient, because I want the cows are quite contrasty, but the background with the haze, the contrast has died off a bit. And to be fair, the lens isn't the best at the long end, but so I just did a gradient and pulling that contrast down, you can see it's making a pretty big difference. I'm also going to drag the blacks down a little and the shadows, and then I'm going to lift the highlights. Actually, I might not. It's kind of washing out the let's try the whites. No, I don't like white clipping, so I was washing out the tor itself, so I'll pull those back down a touch. Probably about there. I might use a radial gradient and see if I can do anything like that. I might not. I might just use dodging and burning in Photoshop, but for the most part, it was about the contrast, and I've now done that, so that's fine. Come back in and let's see what the whites overall does. No, I'm going to do a bit of dodging and burning, I think, within Photoshop. But I will go to the colour mixer. I'm going to increase the saturation on the reds a little, and on the oranges, and on the yellows. Now the blues, I'm probably going to leave those alone, because I'm more than likely going to convert this to black and white, so it's nice to have the blues in the sky from that perspective, because I can pull the blues down in the black and white mix and just make the sky look a lot darker and a lot more I don't know, dramatic, I guess. What I do need to do, I think, is get rid of a bit of the vignetting on this, because it's quite heavy. So let's go for the manual one. Excuse that. Okay, so that's fine. I am actually going to use another linear gradient, and I'm going to lift the shadows on these cows just a touch. So we've got to create new mask, linear, drag it upwards, don't encroach too far into anything else of the image, so probably be okay. Now we'll just lift the shadows a touch. The cows aren't quite so contrasty. Bring up the whites as well, actually. And the highlights. Starting to clip a little bit on some of the fur. Not fur. No, I guess it is fur on their tails. Leather, really, isn't it? But fur, leather, whatever. Okay. So we'll go back to the main editing panel, and I'm going to have a look at the colour balance. Maybe just warm this up just a touch. That's probably fine. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yep, that's fine. So we'll open that up in Photoshop now and do some more. It's only minor editing, really. I mean, it's certainly not anything heavy. So for this image, I focused on the cattle. So I would have thought, yeah, if I zoom in, the tor is a little soft, which is to be expected, really. There's a lot of distance between the two subjects for the compression to work, and I only shot it at 7.1 as well. I didn't really stop it right down, so. But anyway, I've just noticed a distracting crow. So I'm going to use a spot removal and get rid of him. That's fine. Okay, so let's have a zoom in on the cows. Have a look. First thing that I usually do is I usually do my sharpening first. I don't know what people's thoughts on that are, but that's generally what I tend to do. And I use a form of high pass sharpening, but I make it very, very mild. With most lenses that's okay, but this Tamron 70-300 at the long end, it's not the best. Contrast is not great, and you definitely get a drop off in sharpness. Through the rest of the focal range, that lens is great, but yeah. Okay, so sharpening, that's done. I'm going to do black and white conversion, see if that's where I want to take this image. Let's have a look. Don't know, I might keep this one in colour, in fact. Don't know, I'm undecided on that yet. If I keep a colour, I normally drop the hue down just a touch. Can give it a little bit more saturation. So I think the black and white image, I think we lost too much of the tones and the details with the cows, because they're all, or majority of them, brown. They kind of just turned into a bit of mush. Let's have another look. Yeah, I don't know. Let's have a play. See what we can do. Don't raise the reds too much because the cows go a bit weird. Bring out the yellows, which affects the grass. Gives it a kind of, if you drag the yellows right up, you can almost give like an infrared kind of look to your images. Greens probably won't do an awful lot in this one. Excuse my phone. The blues, we drag those down. You see the sky. That's what I said about leaving the blue in the sky. If I'd have pulled that out, wouldn't have had quite as much of an effect when doing this. But you have to be careful because you can introduce halos on lines like this. See that? That line there just looks awful. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. Okay, let's come back out. Let's see. It's difficult to know whether to add detail to the sky or take it away. Alright. I'll leave it about there, I think. Let's go back to that colour image again. Don't know. If I left it colour, I would pull some of the blue out of the sky. Guys, I'm so undecided. Alright, we'll go with a mono first. So, happy with that at the moment. And then I'm going to go into my levels. Pull these whites up. Give it a little bit on the blacks. Give the mid-tones up just a smidge. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Then I'm going to Control J to copy the layer. Go over and select the burn tool. Set to shadows and exposure of 2%. If you go any more than that, it just goes crazy. I'm going to paint some of these shadows in because of the haze and the lack of contrast. The blacks aren't really blacks; they're just kind of a mushy grey. So if we use the burn tool, burn these in a little bit and add a bit of local contrast to some of this detail in the distance. Just right there. I'll probably add a little bit on these patches on the hills, just to add a bit of contour to the hills. Show up a bit of the, like I said, the contour and the texture, if you like. I can do a before and after, so you can see the big difference along this hedgerow. Just adds a little local contrast, gives a bit more clarity to the image. I'll do the same with the dodge tool. I'm just painting some of these highlight spots here. Some of these whiter patches up on the top here a little. Again, it'll add a little definition to the hill. And on these houses here, just to bring these out a little bit. And maybe into some of these fields. Just down here. The cows, I think, maybe a little bit on the cows. Don't think they need a huge amount of tweaking. Okay, so if I pull out now, zoom out and then go before and after, you can see the difference on the hill. Just adds a little more depth, a bit more contour, a bit more detail. That's probably about as far as I'll go with that one. The only other thing that I would do on this image is I would add a 5% white frame. I've got two actions made up, a 10% and a 5%. And just hit play and boom, there you are. And that's about it. I think I'm happy with that. It's nothing special, it's just an image of Glastonbury really. Across the levels with the cattle, Tor in the background, bit of drama in the sky, shadows, highlights, bit of light. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, thanks for watching, guys.